Coming up, the wife of comedian Bill Cosby is expected in downtown Springfield this morning. We have details on her deposition in a defamation case against her husband.
And what a beautiful weekend. Temperatures in the lower 60s and 50s. A little cooler today, but I think you're still going to like your Monday forecast. We're going to have all the details coming up.
And the man accused of having a gun and attacking a student on the campus of UMass Amherst is due in court today on this Monday, February 22nd.
Live from the Massachusetts Broadcasters Association's Station of the Year, this is Western Mass News at 5 a.m. Coverage you can count on. Now, weather and traffic together every 10 minutes.
Well, it's a beautiful start to your work week as you take a live look downtown Springfield, and a perfect weekend out there too, huh, Chris?
Oh, it was great. Saturday was perfect. Sunday, not too bad either. Warm, a little bit hazy. Did you see the full moon out this morning? Good Monday, everyone, by the way. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Brittany Decker. It was absolutely beautiful. And it seems like a good day ahead. At least that's what Dan Brown is forecasting.
Yeah, absolutely, Britt and Chris. It's going to be a nice day today. You know, we were actually tracking on Thursday or Friday last week. We were talking about how we could get a period of snow this morning. Well, that system is missing us to the south, so we're going to do just fine today. With just a few clouds this morning, giving way to sunny skies. It will be more seasonable, but still, I mean, we're going to be just fine after just a tremendous weekend. Hopefully you got a chance to get out and enjoy it. We are cooling off a little bit. We're down to 29 now in Springfield, 29 in Northampton. It is not 52 in Pittsfield. I can tell you that. That is obviously a mistake there. It's probably about 32 in Pittsfield. Lots of readings this morning, upper 20s and lower 30s. We do have a couple of clouds now that will give way to sunny skies today. So as we head back to work and school, we're doing just fine. You can see some of that moisture, right? Stays to the south. It's already heading on out to sea, which means the clouds give way to sunshine, and your Monday is looking good. Now, we're spoiled after this weekend. It's not going to be as warm as it was yesterday or Sunday. But look at this. Temperatures in the lower 40s, doing pretty nice. And we're still tracking a midweek storm, but 90% of that, the bulk of that, is going to be rain. We'll talk more about that, of course, coming up in just a few minutes from now. But it's weather and traffic together, so let's check on that ride to work. Good morning, Britt. Hopefully your weekend was nice.
Yeah, I had a great weekend. Luckily, it was so much fun with friends and family for my birthday. But taking a look back to our Monday now, 91 in Chicopee. So good morning to those of you in Chicopee. Not too many people out there. Good morning in Springfield, 91, not looking too bad at this time either. And overall in the Pioneer Valley, it's looking like an easy commute so far today. However, we do have some more lane closures with viaduct construction this week. Boland Way, right below the 91 viaduct, is closed from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., although one lane will be open at all times. And we still have that Hall of Fame Ave connecting roads and East and West Columbus Ave that will expect delays this week as well. This traffic report is brought to you by AAA Insurance.
Brittany, thank you. Camille Cosby, the wife of Bill Cosby, will give a deposition this morning in a defamation lawsuit against her husband.
This after a federal judge dismissed an emergency motion from Cosby's lawyers to postpone that deposition. Cosby's lawyers claim the deposition served no purpose other than to harass her or embarrass her husband and her, arguing that she had no involvement with the case against her husband. 8 women have sued Bill Cosby for defamation. They claim he portrayed them as liars after they publicly accused him of sexually assaulting them. More than 50 women have brought sexual misconduct allegations against Cosby. He does deny any wrongdoing. Cosby faces separate criminal charges of sexual assault in Pennsylvania. Camille Cosby's deposition is scheduled for 9 a.m. at the Marriott in downtown Springfield. We'll bring you the latest details as they become available. The man accused of assaulting a student and causing a campus-wide lockdown at UMass Amherst Thursday night will appear in court today. 22-year-old William McCowan is charged with armed robbery and assault after allegedly hitting a student with a handgun in a residence hall. This caused UMass police to issue a shelter-in-place order on campus. He'll be arraigned at the Eastern Hampshire District Court in Belchertown.
The race for the White House comes to Western Mass today when Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders hosts a rally at UMass Amherst. The Vermont senator is expected to discuss his plans for combating climate change and making college affordable. This is Sanders' second visit to UMass this year. Today's event takes place at the Mullen Center. Doors open at 4:30. A deadly fire in Wales claimed the life of an elderly woman early Sunday morning. The Wales Fire Department tells Western Mass News that the home was destroyed after firefighters encountered a large fire and extreme smoke conditions. Crews from Munson, Brimfield, Holland, and Stafford, Connecticut all responded to the scene. Wales Fire Chief says the fire was under control in 45 minutes thanks to the fast response.
The town of Wales doesn't have a hydrant district. We rely on what we call a tanker shuttle. So the 4 other departments that came in all brought in tankers. So it's a slower process to get water to the fire, but we were able to establish a water supply there relatively quickly.
Because that fire still remains under investigation. Now, a disturbing discovery in Chicopee now has police asking questions. Take a look at this photo. It shows packets of heroin stuffed in a cup. Chicopee police found around 25 packets tied together with a rubber band. They don't know who put the cup there, and they're thankful it didn't end up in the hands of any innocent kids. And don't forget, Western Mass News begins a new series this week highlighting the lethal heroin epidemic impacting all of Massachusetts. Experts from the Center for Human Development will be at our studios later on today taking your questions. Be sure to tune in Western Mass News at 5 o'clock. Now, emergency responders are warning those enjoying the outdoors to be cautious and safe when you're near the ice. Dozens of ice fishers were out on the Oxbow this weekend for the East Hampton Rod and Gun Club.
Western Mass News reporter Mary Kate Mannion met with them and first responders as well to talk about safety while enjoying the winter sport.
It's a waiting game. You just got to sit here forever and wait and wait and wait and hope.
Despite warm temperatures, Shane Frenier and his son Zach could be found on the ice at the Oxbow.
Just catching the fish. That's pretty fun.
Shane has been coming here since he was 12 years old.
Coming out to the same place, same Oxbow, maybe catching some of the same fish.
But this year's winter has created challenges for anglers looking to fish. Today's conditions were between 7 to 10 inches of ice.
We had that freezing cold temperatures and it locked it up pretty good. We're safe for now.
Because of this past weekend's warmer weather, some of the ice along the shore here at the Oxbow has begun to melt away a little bit. So ice fishers have had to put down planks to get out onto the ice.
It is concerning. I mean, you're outside in a t-shirt and someone's sitting on ice fishing.
Northampton's fire department says they haven't had to rescue anyone this weekend, but warn that there's no such thing as safe ice.
We have the equipment that's ready. I mean, we can only say that it's not safe, but if something happens, we have the equipment and the personnel to get them out safely.
If it's sketchy and you're not quite sure, you only go out a few feet at a time, drill a hole, and check the thickness of the ice and keep going until you know that it is safe, and then you're fine.
The Freniers say they're hoping for a big catch for today's tournament.
As the days get longer and the sun stays out, yeah, you got to watch the shorelines a lot, and then pretty soon the ice will be gone.
Reporting for Western Mass News, I'm Mary Kate Mannion.
Yeah, they said the ice was about 7 to 10 inches, but sometimes you step to the side a few feet and you could be in trouble. I would not trust the ice, especially on Saturday. It was 60 degrees.
Well, you never know, as you said, the ice isn't uniform throughout, so there are, I guess we'd call them thin spots, but those guys seem to know what they're doing, and all's well that ends well, I guess.
And they caught some fish.
I'll wait until it's all melted and sit on the shore and throw my line in. Coming up next on Western Mass News, the race for the White House heats up as primaries in 2 critical states are now just days away.
Traffic together every 10 minutes.
It's that time in the morning. 5:11 is the time. Thank you so much for joining us. And as you mentioned, Dan, if you look outside, you see this beautiful moon out there. I believe it's called
Actually, you know what?
snow moon.
I forgot about it. Chris,
You said it? The snow full moon or something.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it.
The full moon in February, I believe
Huge out
it
there.
is a snow moon. I didn't see it coming in either, but I mentioned it's lighting up the countryside. Well, it is now that the clouds are breaking apart.
Yeah,
So we're
it's
talking
beautiful.
maybe snow on Friday coming in.
That's
but
right. Thursday and Friday, we're thinking we may get clipped by an ocean storm this morning.
Yeah.
Well, that is missing us, so that is some good
Good news, right?
And last week we thought that maybe we could have a big storm in the middle of this week, which we are going to, but it's going to be rain. So
It's crazy.
there you go.
We've
Nice.
been pretty lucky. We'll keep that
Rain
streak
in
going.
February.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the story this upcoming week. An inside runner with this main event, meaning that the storm system is going to move up into the Ohio River Valley, and that is going to bring us our rain event. But we got a lot to talk about. In fact, let's talk a little bit about this weekend. How can we not? It was so warm, so mild this up.
The 91 interchange. That is your AAA Insurance traffic report. Chris and Brittany, back to you.
Brittany, thanks. We're just one day away from another battle in the race for the White House. Tomorrow, the Republicans will caucus in Nevada. GOP frontrunner Donald Trump is hoping for another victory after his big win in South Carolina.
And now the Democrats are in the South courting the crucial African-American vote. ABC's Kenneth Moten reports from Washington.
This week, it's the early presidential contest switch.
We just won
Nevada!
It's the Democrats' turn in the Deep South, while the Republicans are now out west in Nevada for tomorrow's caucuses. Rallying in Nevada, where the latest poll has Trump leading by 26 points. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Washington.
Donnie Wahlberg thinks Marco Rubio has the right stuff. The New Kids on the Block member officially endorsed Rubio for president on Sunday. Wahlberg told the crowd that he's never voted for a Republican before, but Rubio has changed his mind. An endorsement from Wahlberg, a Boston native, may come in handy as part of Rubio's efforts for Super Tuesday, a packed primary day which includes many states, including right here in Massachusetts. We'll all cast our votes.
519 Ohio Governor John Kasich is blocking Planned Parenthood from receiving any state funding. The GOP presidential candidate signed a bill Sunday banning the state from contracting health services with any group that performs or promotes abortion. The bill doesn't specifically mention Planned Parenthood, but the group will effectively be cut from more than $1 million in funding for health programs. Planned Parenthood President Cecile Richards slammed the bill, saying it will hurt women across Ohio. Coming up here on Western Mass News, we'll take a look at the results of a new study on
drinking coffee could cut your chance of developing a type of liver disease. That's according to a medical journal that reviewed 9 separate studies on the effects of coffee. Researchers say 2 cups a day could cut your chance to develop an alcohol-related cirrhosis by 44%. Cirrhosis deteriorates the liver by blocking blood flow. Alcoholism is the second most common cause of that condition in the United States. But experts say coffee will never balance out all negative effects of excess alcohol. Stress is completely normal for pregnant women, of course. In fact, pregnancy itself may be one of the reasons you feel stressed out. And we all know that pregnant or not, too much stress is not a good thing for our bodies. But the jury's still out on how women's stress levels affects the fetus.
Pregnancy, it's not so clear-cut. We're not sure that stress is harmful, although it can make your pregnancy a lot tougher. There is some data that potentially says that kind of stress can increase your risk for a smaller baby and also preterm labor.
Doctors say you can manage stress in a variety of ways, including a hot cup of tea or a warm bath. They also recommend taking time for yourself, such as going for a walk or just finding a quiet place to get away. Coming up next on Western Mass News, a major day in the case against Bill Cosby as his wife is set to give a deposition into his alleged sexual misconduct. And the fate of MGM Springfield could be determined tonight, what the city council is looking for ahead of the final vote on the project. The time is 5:27 on your Monday morning. We'll be back after a short break.
Now, weather and traffic together every 10 minutes.
Well, it's a beautiful start to your work week as you take a live look downtown Springfield. I just love this new sky cam, don't you? You can see all the lights, the beautiful Connecticut River, and look at even some light starting to come up in the sky.
High definition light. That's the beauty of that sky cam there. And yeah, the sun is coming up. With it, hopefully the temperatures coming off of what was probably the best February weekend I can remember ever. Really.
I agree. And kids were on vacation last week. They're heading back to school this week. Everyone's heading back to work. Let's find out how the weather will fare for all of the action. Hey, Dan.
Yeah, Chris, you know, you're absolutely right. It certainly was one of the best weekends in February that in recent years, right? I mean, usually when we warm up in February, it usually comes with rain or wind. I mean, man, we had sunshine. It was just so beautiful.
To this morning's big story, Bill Cosby's wife, Camille, loses her bid to delay testifying in her husband's sex assault case.
A deposition is set to take place this morning at the Marriott in downtown Springfield. That's where we find Western Mass News reporter Mary Kate Mannion, who joins us now with the latest. Hi, Mary Kate.
Good morning, Brittany and Chris. As you can see, barriers have been set up here at the Marriott in downtown Springfield, where Camille Cosby has been ordered to testify in a defamation lawsuit case against her husband. This comes after 7 women have come out and publicly accused Bill Cosby of sexually assaulting them. Now, late last night, a judge did deny a request from Camille's lawyers to postpone this deposition because they say she has nothing to do with this case. Now, Bill Cosby has repeatedly denied allegations of sexual misconduct or assault. Her lawyers once again argue that her testimony would only create a media circus that would do nothing more than embarrass the 71-year-old. Now, the Cosbys do own a home in Shelburne Falls, just an hour here from downtown Springfield. This whole deposition is set to take place just after 9 o'clock this morning. We will be following it all day on air as well as online at westernmassnews.com, so be sure to follow along for there. But for now, reporting live in downtown Springfield for Western Mass News, I'm Mary Kate Mannion.
The man accused of assaulting a student and causing a campus-wide lockdown at UMass Thursday night will appear in court today. 22-year-old William McKeon is charged with armed robbery and assault after allegedly hitting a student with a handgun in a residence hall. This caused UMass police to issue a shelter-in-place order on campus. He'll be arraigned at the Eastern Hampshire District Court in Belchertown.
The race for the White House comes to Western Mass today when Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders hosts a rally at UMass. The Vermont senator expected to discuss his plans for combating climate change and making college affordable. This is Sanders' second visit to UMass Amherst this year. Today's event takes place at the Mullen Center, where doors open at 4:30.
Also today, Springfield City Council is expected to vote on the design changes to the MGM casino project. If the vote happens during tonight's meeting, it'll bring the end to weeks' worth of discussions on the project. The city had concerns over the changes, which included elimination of a 25-story glass tower hotel and an overall reduction in the size of the project. MGM has begun work on their parking garage, but they still need approval from both the city and state's gaming commission before they can proceed on the $950 million project. The casino resort is expected to open in the fall of 2018.
2 people were taken to the hospital Sunday afternoon after a collision near the on-ramp to 391 in Chicopee. A police officer heard the crash and found a car on its side. Police say the victims were alert and conscious following the crash. Drivers were detoured onto 391 towards Holyoke, and no word yet on what caused the accident.
An ice fisherman in Great Barrington is warming up after falling through the ice Sunday afternoon. This all happened on Lake Mansfield. According to firefighters, 2 Good Samaritans tried to drag a canoe to the man, but that only made things worse. Both men fell through the ice just seconds later. The fisherman, Robert Avery, was transported to the hospital with severe hypothermia. He's since been released.
2 families received a new home at the foot of Mount Tom in East Hampton, all thanks to Habitat for Humanity. Angelique Baker and Alita Kennedy worked alongside hundreds of volunteers to build the homes, which have a zero net energy potential. The pair was deeply moved by the community's act of kindness.
That was the first thing that struck me about this whole process, is that so many people that you don't even know would come out here and do this just out of the kindness of their hearts. And I like the fact that our home is a green home and it's going to leave a much smaller carbon footprint on the planet than other places. And I absolutely love that. That's a dream I never thought I'd see.
Pioneer Valley Habitat for Humanity has built homes with low-wage earning families in Hampshire and Franklin counties for the last 27 years.
It's a beautiful home.
It is very nice.
And coming up next, gas prices continue to fall around the country. We'll let you know just how long it's been since they've reached these current levels.
And hoverboards were the hot item this past holiday season. Boy, were they. But now the government's going after the companies that make them. We have details on why. But first, Dan's back with a check of the Monday forecast. Dan?
Yeah, Chris, it's back to work in school today. The kids coming off the February vacation.
Welcome back, everybody. Time for your celebrity birthdays on this Monday,
It is the 22nd,
Thank you very much.
2/22/16.
Drew Barrymore, 41 years old, a beautiful woman, actress most known for her roles, of course, in E.T., Never Been Kissed, and Charlie's Angels.
Rajon Rondo, he is 30, former point guard for the Celtics. He helped them win the NBA championship in 2008, currently playing for the Sacramento Kings.
And James Blunt, 42 years old, singer. Of course, he sang that song, You're Beautiful. And I saw him in concert once. I was in the front row, and he gave me his guitar pick, and the drummer gave me his drumstick.
No kidding.
I was so excited. Yeah, I love James Blunt.
Has he done anything since, though?
He was kind of like a one-hit wonder, I think, type of person, but he had such a unique voice. I really liked him a lot.
All right, let's move on to the movies. Deadpool destroyed the competition again at the box office this weekend, retaining the top spot with $55 million for a 10-day domestic total of $235 million. Kung Fu Panda 3 came in second for the second straight weekend. That grossed $12.5 million. And rounding out third place with $11.8 million was the new movie Risen. That's a drama about a Roman tribune searching for the body of Jesus.
And get out the tequila and limes because today is National Margarita Day. What day is it?
I thought that was Cinco de Mayo.
No, today it's an extra day to celebrate. The cocktail is simple to make and it consists of just 3 ingredients: tequila, triple sec, and lime or lemon juice. It can be traditional or frozen, so mix it up and enjoy your favorite. What do you prefer?
As far as margaritas?
Yeah, how do you like it? I like the frozen ones.
I like it frozen. I'm not crazy for it on the rocks.
I get a brain freeze, but it makes sure I pace
You like all the salt on the rim?
I like sugar.
Well, then
Keep
that's
it
really
going.
not a margarita.
All right.
Of course, it is a Monday, so good luck with any margaritas you have. Coming up next on Western Mass News, we'll have the latest on Camille Cosby's deposition after a judge denies an emergency request to postpone it.
And the latest on an investigation into a fire in Wales that claimed the life of an elderly woman.
Welcome back, everyone. Breaking news: an early morning car crash has a portion of Route 63 in the town of Montague closed.
Emergency crews remain on scene. Western Mass News reporter Mary Kate Mannion joins us live from Montague with all the details. Mary Kate.
Good morning, Brittany and Chris. That's right. A portion of Route 63 here in Montague is now closed after what police are calling a serious car crash between a vehicle, and a tractor trailer. Now, as you can see, Mass DOT has been here. They have set up a detour sign here at the road to direct drivers off of the road as it's closed from Green Pond Road South down to Lake Pleasant Road. Now, Montague Police, along with Turner's Falls and Montague Center Fire, as well as Turner's Falls, did respond to this crash, and they are still here on scene. We can't see anything from this vantage point, but this is just as close as we're allowed to go at this time. There's no word yet on the condition of any of those people that were in the vehicles or driving that tractor truck trailer. And police say that this area is going to be closed for a considerable amount of time. So those who do live in the area and take this road will need to find another way to get to work or school this morning. But for now, reporting live in Montague for Western Mass News, I'm Mary Kate Mannion.
Now, weather and traffic together every 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Mary Kate. 7:31 right now. Nice weekend, of course. And now this Monday doesn't look too bad either. A decent start. A little cooler, but the sun is still out.
If you notice, you look in the Connecticut River there on the sky cam, and you can see the clouds and the blue sky.
And no ice, by the way, on the river.
See? Now
to speak of.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful coming off of a 60-degree day on Saturday, and I think we're about average today. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, you know, Brittany, I was noticing too from that live shot, no ice, no snow, right? I mean, of course, all that snow and ice just melted away over the weekend. How could it not with temperatures, as Brittany pointed out, 61 was the high on Saturday, 53 yesterday, and today we'll be closer to average. It'll be a little bit cooler, but still really nice. Temperatures now are in the mid and upper 20s, so obviously you're going to need the winter jacket this morning, and even this afternoon. You'll need it, but I mean, it's still going to be decent. Temperatures will climb into the lower 40s. A couple of clouds here and there this morning. They'll continue to break apart, giving way to just about full sunshine. And, you know, Thursday and Friday last week we were saying, be careful Monday morning. We could have a little bit of snow. Well, obviously that's not the case, right? That storm system basically missed us to the south, and it really has scooted out. So no concerns today. We're looking fine. Temperatures will climb up pretty quick. We'll be into the upper 30s to around 40 by noontime. We'll settle into the low to maybe mid 40s as we go into the afternoon. We are following another storm threat, a big storm perhaps by the middle of the week, but that too looks like it's going to be mainly rain, and we'll talk about that in detail coming up in just a few minutes. But let's check on the ride to work. Britt, we're heading back to school on a Monday morning after the weekend, so how are things looking out there?
Actually not too bad, Dan. Of course, we are tracking that accident in Montague and also the conditions here on 91, at least in Holyoke. We are clear sailing at this time. In Chicopee, not looking too bad either. No worries there, but in Springfield, things are slowing down. As you can see, 91 southbound down to around 20 miles an hour at this time. Northbound is starting to creep down to around 40 miles an hour there. I can see the conditions are expanding where we have medium to slow speeds going on. As far as our drive times go in those construction areas, 91 Longmeadow to exit 9, still a good 7 minutes, not bad there. 5 minutes southbound though, exit 12 to West Columbus Ave. Average speeds down to 45, and 5 minutes on 291 from Page Boulevard to Dwight Street. So keep that in mind. Expect delays as you head out this week. This traffic report is brought to you by AAA Insurance. Chris and Brittany, over to you.
Thanks, Brittany. 7:34 now. Camille Cosby, the wife of Bill Cosby, will give a deposition this Monday morning in a defamation lawsuit against her husband.
This after a federal judge dismissed an emergency motion from Cosby's lawyers to postpone the deposition. Cosby's lawyers claim the deposition served no purpose other than to harass or embarrass her, arguing that she had no involvement with the case against her husband. 8 women have sued Bill Cosby for defamation. They claim he portrayed them as liars after they publicly accused him of sexually assaulting them. More than 50 women have brought sexual misconduct allegations against Cosby. He denies any wrongdoing. Cosby faces separate criminal charges of sexual assault in Pennsylvania. Camille Cosby's deposition is scheduled for 9 a.m. at the Marriott in downtown Springfield. Of course, we'll bring you the latest details as they become available.
The man accused of assaulting a student and causing a campus-wide lockdown at UMass Amherst Thursday night will appear in court later today. 22-year-old William McCowan is charged with armed robbery and assault after allegedly hitting a student with a handgun in a residence hall. This caused UMass police to issue a shelter-in-place order on campus. He'll be arraigned at the Eastern Hampshire District Court in Belchertown.
The race for the White House comes to Western Mass today when Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders hosts a rally at UMass Amherst. The Vermont senator is expected to discuss his plans for combating climate change and making college affordable. This is Sanders' second visit to UMass this year. Today's event takes place at the Mullen Center. Doors open at 4:30.
7:35, and also today, Springfield City Councilors are expected to vote on the design changes to the MGM Casino project. If the vote happens during tonight's meeting, it'll bring an end to weeks' worth of discussions on that project. The city had concerns over the changes, which included the elimination of a 25-story glass tower hotel and an overall reduction in the size of the $1 million worth of project. MGM has begun work on their parking garage, but they still need approval from both the city and the state's gaming commission before they can proceed on the $950 million project. The casino resort expected to open in the fall of 2018.
2 people were taken to the hospital Sunday afternoon after a collision near the on-ramp to 391 in Chicopee. A police officer heard the crash and found a car on its side. Police say the victims were alert and conscious following the crash. Drivers were detoured to 391 towards Holyoke. No word yet what caused the crash.
An ice fisherman in Great Barrington is warming up after falling through the ice on Sunday afternoon. It all happened on Lake Mansfield. According to firefighters, 2 Good Samaritans tried to drag a canoe out to the man, but turns out that only made things worse. Both men fell through the ice just seconds later. The fisherman, Robert Avery, was transported to the hospital with severe hypothermia. He has since, though, been released.
A deadly fire in Wales claimed the life of an elderly woman early Sunday morning. The Wales Fire Department tells Western Mass News that the home was destroyed after firefighters encountered a large fire in extreme smoke conditions. Crews from Munson, Brimfield, Holland, and Stafford, Connecticut all responded to the scene. Wales Fire Chief says the fire was under control in 45 minutes thanks to fast response.
The town of Wales doesn't have a hydrant district. We rely on what we call a tanker shuttle. So the 4 other departments that came in all brought in tankers. So it's a slower process to get water to the fire, but we were able to establish a water supply there relatively quickly.
The cause of that deadly fire remains under investigation.
7:37, and coming up next, gas